the show. We are back with another episode of the Ferris Wheel Classic Rock Show.
We are.
A big thanks for your emails, suggestions, and support on our social media platforms.
Thank you.
As well as those pictures.
And continue streaming us on anywhere you could find our podcast. Email us at theferriswheelshow@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And TikTok. Listen to the new show every week. Just tune in each Wednesday evening at 7 p.m.
My Lord.
New York City time on Cap City Beats, located at www.capcitybeats.ca.
Jesus, I hope there's a limiter on that board.
Okay, buckle up for some serious rock talk!
Oh, God.
Wow, my eardrums just popped.
No wonder they kick us out of the
I
studio.
want our audience to love us. In the words of Sally Field, you love me. You really, really love me.
I've always wondered about you. Now it's come through. Now I know.
All right.
Yeah, that was very
Isn't it
Vincent
sad when
Price.
cousins marry? You know.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ferris Kennedy. Alongside me to the left, the man who's got big nipples.
No, well, I'm not going to even say my name then. Dr. Ian Clarke.
And the man here who decides to walk around with rectal thermometers just for fun.
Stephen Wheeler,
This is
apparently.
like degrading. We're not going to make half an... Anyway, we'll try our best, folks.
Here we go. Dr. Clarke, today is actually a special show that's close deep into your heart because it's in your heart. Remember, Ian? It's in your heart.
Never, ever touch me. Okay. Ever. Yeah, it's something that's really important when you discuss rock and roll, and that is sex. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. We're going to talk about that today, but we're going to talk about it in a way that doesn't get us impounded in the legal authorities or streaming services. We're calling this suggestive lyrics in classic rock songs. I could have called it sexy lyrics in classic rock songs. I could have said sex in classic rock songs, but the Google algorithms would have begun hemorrhaging all over the show, so suggestive it is. Next, there's no challenge to finding sex in classic rock songs. The challenge is not finding sex in classic rock songs. I mean, that's what it's about. So let's do a little preamble. The following is adapted from thestatestime.com. Quote, Elvis Presley first appeared in the Ed Sullivan Show, October 1956, performing his version of Hound Dog. Yeah, by his version, that's well put. It was a cover. People think he originated that song. That was a Big Mama Thornton song. Very quickly, Elvis became a symbol of sex and youthful debauchery. He sure did. He got in a lot of trouble with his hips thrusting and all that.
Wasn't he known as Elvis the Pelvis?
Yeah, it was just... They were pretty hard on Presley. He was performing blues and R&B songs like Hound Dog, and that didn't help. As far as sexual content, Presley's the hit is tame compared to other blues songs of the time, and it's almost immaculate, nicely put, compared to concurrent sexual themes in pop music. Nevertheless, the innuendos are there, combined with his hip thrusting, and the way he performed, and the decency crowd really got after him. When asked about sexual innuendos in American music, jazz historian Dr. Art Falbush stated, "Men and women have always spoken frankly about their relations behind closed doors. However, when commerce is involved, when there's a record that needs to be sold, the content has to be made sellable to the general public and made to fit the norms of the pulp time period." True, right? While no other rockers garnered quite the divisive attention that Presley did, a litany of rock and rollers followed the formula of playing sexually charged blues music. Eric Clapton became famous for electrifying the blues of Robert Johnson. He sure did. An artist whose lyrics contain all the sexual themes of the before mentioned Mama Thornton and Blind Boy Fuller, another great blues artist, with the additional dose of sexual violence. Clapton began his career performing blues songs that were just tame enough for the white American audience to stomach, while the far more blatant blues songs remained below the radar. Okay, so we know about some of the origins of suggestive lyrics in rock. Let's take a look at it from the musician's point of view, as in, why is there so much sex in rock music? Now, the following bit is adapted from artsandpopularculture.com. Quote, the rock and roll lifestyle was popularly associated with sex and drugs. Many of rock and roll's early stars, as well as their jazz and blues counterparts, were known as hard-drinking, hard-living characters. During the 1960s, a decadent lifestyle of many stars became publicly known. It sure did, aided by the growth of the underground rock press, which documented such excesses, often in exploitative fashion. That's interesting. Musicians had always attracted attention from the opposite sex, Frank Sinatra, while some rock groups eschewed such attention in favor of long-term relationships. Not. Other groups and artists did little to discourage it, and many tales, true and exaggerated, of sexual escapades became part of rock music legacy during the heyday of the rock era. So these guys talking really about the 60s and 70s. As the heyday was over, rock lost its connection with sex, and it kind of was steered into R&B and rap and pop, which now have much more sexual content than rock. An important sentence in that. Well, I'll read it again. While rap, R&B, and later, let me flip my notes here, and pop have far more sexual content in their songs than current rock music. So for you culture vultures, that is a noteworthy statement. Okay, it's been said there are three main themes in classic rock: sex, rebellion, and romantic love. I did say main themes. I'm sure you can think of variations, but generally it's an extension of one of those, a variation on the theme. Okay, so why is so much rock music about sex? Two reasons. First, the audience is mostly young, often pre-20-year-olds, and that age, the hormones are raging. And two, the beat. There's no need to elaborate on the rhythm aspect, but if you compare a rock song to a jazz song, even with the same lyrical content, the square 4/4 beat is going to drown out any other bizarre jazzy time signatures. And it's always been that way, from rock around the clock to whatever current jabbering is happening today. Sex in rock is a load-bearing support being. As a sidebar, in 1985, Tipper Gore, who was I guess they got divorced, Al Gore's, Vice President Al Gore's wife, and he was VP under Clinton. Okay, she co-founded the Parents Music Resource Center because she heard her 11-year-old daughter playing Darling Nikki by Prince. The group's goal was to increase parental and consumer awareness of music that contained explicit content through voluntarily labeling albums with a parental advisory sticker. Gore said her purpose wasn't to put a gag order on music, but to keep it safe for younger listeners by providing parents with information about the content of the song. Okay. By the way, Darling Nikki is a pretty raunchy song if you want to look it up on the internet. Okay.
This is why parental advisory stickers come on albums now, Ian?
Exactly.
That's Tipper Gore. At the time, I remember, I think, oh, Lord. But in retrospect, it's not the worst possible thing. She was, like, Frank Zappa freaked out, and these guys, there was censorship. It was just like movies putting, what you're about
PG,
to see,
yeah.
contains, but now they go too far. It contains smoking, too. Smoking! Get it off!
That's true. I've actually noticed that on streaming services.
No, but it's true though. When I was younger, and Ian and our, Wheels and our generation with the gangster rap.
We're less than 20 years apart, by the way, but keep going.
The gangster rap. My father kind of screened it for me before, even I'd buy it. And he wanted to know what it was.
I don't blame him. I mean,
I appreciate him for that, because it helps you evolve, and you have to understand. And he understood what NWA stood for, what they were singing about or rapping about, really.
Mm-hmm.
So he got it. Not everyone gets it, but a lot of people do. And there always is a message in music. There always is a message in music, no matter any which way you look at it. So I'm totally okay with the parental advisory, I think, especially today, because everyone is so sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
About everything. Oh, yeah.
About everything. You know, you sneeze in one direction, you know.
Well, exactly. No, I think it's better because when you look at movies and comics, they both had a code. They had the A's code for movies in the 30s, and the comic code, the Hays code, and the comic code from I think the late 40s, no, the early 50s on till the 80s, and it just that was censorship. Because you look at Hollywood movies in the late 20s, early 30s, they were almost European. Like there was a lot of skin, and then you get like people that are dressed from the neck down to the tip of their toes for 30 or 40 years. The parental advisory sticker, it told teenagers in the 90s, oh, you really want that one? You know?
And that's fine. But for a lot of parents, maybe even single parents, I who don't have time to listen to whatever, they're busy. I don't mind a sticker. So what? They weren't edited. They weren't censored, the albums. It was just if you buy Frank Zappa, this is what it contained. Okay, well, I'm not going to give that to my kid. Or I am. Whatever. Censorship, I know, is a dangerous thing in its own way. But to be sensible about it, you know. It usually exists in some form. So what? Get over it. They didn't chop up the albums. They just put a sticker on it.
Exactly.
So, anyways, time to stratify and classify what I'm talking about. First of all, in rock music, we have something called kinky lyrics. Kinky lyrics. You will find these delightful gems in songs like You Can Leave Your Hat On, Joe Cocker, Cover You in Mazola Oil, no, just Cover You in Oil, AC/DC, Triad by the Byrds, written by David Crosby, Whip It by Devo, Spank by Van Halen, Sin by Nine Inch Nails, Love in an Elevator, Aerosmith, actually anything by Aerosmith, Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin, Lady Marmalade by LaBelle, Private Dancer by Tina Turner, You Shook Me All Night Long, AC/DC, Pour Some Sugar and Wine, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Def Leppard. It goes on forever.
You gotta say this, Def Leppard! And do the D, what's his name again? Oh, Dio.
Dio.
Well, yeah.
The horns.
Okay, for the audience, he is making the horn sign. The trivia there is that Dio got it from his grandmother. It's not a bad thing.
He was Italian, yeah. I gave you
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. He said it...
well, it depends which...
It fights the evil eye, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, so there's two different versions of Italian culture on it, and obviously being my descent, in the South, they kind of say, I'm giving you the horns, and it can mean one of two things. Yes, it could be a good thing that I'm, kind of giving you a good omen, or in other words, like, here's the horns, you SOB, I hope you,
Okay.
So but it all depends. If you talk to my cousin in Italy, he hates everybody, so he gives everybody the horns because he wants them to have bad luck.
God.
So it's bad luck, or it means I hope your wife sleeps with another guy?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what he says. So he had basically said it in Italian. Ti corni di disgraziate amore. Like he just
My
goes
God.
Because if I remember...
Like that in Scotland. Get out of my way, I'm going to punch you in the head.
Because if I remember correctly, in Italy, there's a saint day every day of the year, and Saint Joseph is the patron saint of cockholes, if I remember correctly.
Thanks a lot.
Look, the only saint I know is Saint Anthony, which is the protector of all children, and what's the Christopher guy there? Saint Christopher.
Travelers.
Travels.
Yeah.
So Joseph, unfortunately, I don't know.
Down the list. Thanks a lot. Really? He's up there in heaven going, what? No, come on.
Really?
No, it's not what he did. It's what happened to him.
Yeah.
But just for the record, did you not say that Dio was not an attractive man?
Oh, Lord.
He was terrifying. He was like a bridge troll.
So if you were a single woman, you had to choose between Dio and John Bon Jovi, who would you take?
Well, it depends if I'm blind or not, apparently.
You're not blind. Ian, answer the question truthfully.
Well, truthfully, John would I have trouble with. I'd probably go with Dio and the horns.
Igor.
Again, the language, we're a multitasking show here.
We're going to be on the Urai.
Exactly.
Okay, let's keep going here. Next, we have ambiguous sex. As in, I think I know what's going on, but I can't be 100% sure. In this category, we have Light My Fire by The Doors, Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stone, Candy's Room by Bruce Springsteen, Because the Night, it's by Springsteen again. Actually, Springsteen's good at this genre. Crimson and Clover, Tommy James and the Shondells.
Really? That seems so innocent, that song.
Yeah. He also did a song called Hanky Panky, which ain't so innocent, but I put it in there.
Okay.
My baby does the hanky panky.
That's the Tommy J guy?
It's Tommy James.
Cool.
Wow.
All the Young Girls Love Alice by Elton John. Lola by the Kinks. Honky Tonk Women by the Rolling Stones. Why Don't We Do It on the Road by the Beatles. I'm on Fire, Springsteen. One Night with You, Elvis. Sledgehammer, Peter Gabriel. So now, right now, listeners, I'm sure you after you finish this podcast, you can say, Sledgehammer.
I thought it was construction.
What's he talking about? What's the big deal with Sledgehammer? Uh-oh.
I thought it was about model trains.
Yeah.
Sledge. That's a good album, though.
It's
Very
the,
good.
Yeah, everyone had
Yeah.
that album, too.
So,
yeah. So
Yeah.
in French, P.
Amazing. How does he know that word in French? You know, the French have invented a different word for every one of ours. So Steve Martin joke. Next, there's the more, so we say, conventional sex in rock songs. We have songs like You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman by Aretha Franklin. That was a Carole King song. Lay, Lady, Lay, Bob Dylan. Let's Get It On, Marvin Gaye. You Really Got Me, The Kinks, A Wicked Game, Chris Isaak. Let's Stay Together, Al Green. Feel Like Making Love, Roberta Flack. Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond. Little Red Corvette by Prince. Okay.
Again, I thought I was really referring to a song.
car.
Excuse me. I
think he talks about condoms in there, so no.
Okay.
All right, there's a fourth criterion that we could include, and this encircles the really bad use of sex in classic rock lyrics. By bad, I mean really on the nose writing, sloppy, regrettable lines, lazy allusions. Some examples: Unskinny Bop by Poison.
Oh, yeah.
Wango Tango by Ted Nugent. The Detroit Madman. Great Expectations by Kiss. Pink by Aerosmith. Physical, Olivia Newton-John, although she's not really classic rock.
Yeah, but the video was all a bunch of like overweight people exercising.
Yeah, but you actually read the lyrics. It's kind of
But did she write it, or was she just the interpreter?
probably the interpreter. Tonight's the Night, Rod Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You by Heart. Pretty Tied Up, Guns Roses. Like I said, it's obvious.
Guns.
Roses.
I mean, they didn't know how to spell and like. So what conclusions can we make? The first, not all classic rock is about sex, but it certainly pervades the genre. In fact, it's often like a tonic that complements the beat and the electric instruments. We have discovered today that sometimes suggestive lyrics go way beyond suggestive, and many songs are just badly written, but that can be said of almost any music genre. We have heard that suggestive lyrics can be playful, like Lola, or simply sensuous, like Springsteen's I'm on Fire. The end result, most classic rock songs with suggestive content and they're empowered by the lyrics, and there's a symbiosis with the beat, the style of singing and the melody, and the attitude, and it's fun and it's exciting and it's interesting, it's sometimes dumb, goofy, and juvenile, but for the most part, the formula works. So to close out, let me quote the lyrics of a great, dumb, fun, goofy song. And by quoting them, I'm not trying to make fun of them. When you isolate lyrics, usually they seem kind of goofy. What I'm trying to show you is that the sexual content in this case is more than suggestive. It's at the top of the surface. It's floating on the surface. But it's a great song, and I'm talking about AC/DC's You Shook Me All Night Long. Okay, so I'm going to read the lyrics straight. Again, this is not intended to make fun of them. That's too easy. You have to think in terms of this isn't Shakespeare. This is a great rock song. Okay, she was a fast machine. She kept her motor clean. She was the best damn woman that I've ever seen. She had the sightless eyes, telling me no lies, knocking me out with those American thighs. Taking more than her share, had me fighting for air. She told me to come, but I was already there because the walls started shaking, the earth started quaking, my mind was aching, and we were making it. And you shook me all night long. Yeah, you shook me all night long. Working double time on the seduction line. She's one of a kind. She's mine, all mine. Wanted no applause. It's just another course. Made a meal out of me and come back for more. Had to cool me down to take another round. Now I'm back in the ring to take another swing. That the walls were shaking, the earth was quaking, my mind was aching, and we were making it. And you shook me all night long. Yeah, you shook me all night long and knocked me out. I said, you shook me all night long. You had me shaking, and you shook me all night long. Yeah, you shook me. You really shook me, etc., etc. You see what I'm getting at? You put that to a great chord progression, a great voice. You got a great song. So that's part of the reason they're there. So with that thought in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you a suggestive farewell.
Well, with that, it's funny you say that because when he wrote that song, Angus Young was listening to it and he's like, dude, are you writing about cars? And he had said it, he said, well, because before Johnson joined AC/DC, he actually had his own automotive shop in Newcastle, right?
Nice.
He said he was old. He was 32 at the time. He was living in his parents' basement still.
Good.
He was with Geordie, the band Geordie.
What do you do when your parents have no basement?
Good point.
In Newcastle, they probably all have
basement. Yeah, that's true.
It would be very damp.
No, but you always hear about these guys. He hit it big after living in his parents' basement, and you're like, what happens if your parents live in a condo tower?
Well, that you would have to sleep in the bed.
On the air mattress.
Between them. Hi, Pop. Hi, Mom. Get out. So there we go. That is about suggestive lyrics in classic rock music.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you hear any music?
Oh, hello.
And now it's time for Ian's Knock, a little segment we like to call Affairs with Rock Show, where Ian himself will rant and rave on books, reviews, musicians, artists, people, or whatever just does not go his way back then. Who knows? You might be on Ian's Knock, 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 Knock.
We once did a show on rock voices. We called it the best rock voices.
Gorgeous. Was it Gorgeous?
Gorgeous originally, and then we were sued by someone who owned the word gorgeous. So we changed it to best rock voices. And I was reading something from rockpasta.com. Yes, it exists. And they talked about Rock Pasta, overrated classic rock vocalists. And it's something I find irritating too. Is when ostensibly intelligent people rattle on about the vocal prowess of some nitwit, warbling out of tune with no feeling and no sense of timing. Yes, it is irritating, and it can impact your digestion for weeks. So let's get on the same page and go through this list from Rock Pasta. And there's just 10 of them, folks, so it's not an exhaustive list. But remember, this is their list, not mine. I'm kind of on board with it more or less. Number 10. Anthony, I call him Tony. Anthony Kiedis. There you go.
He's Greek.
The actual. Who knew you could? I can mispronounce the Greek pronunciation of that word. He can't stop himself from being overrated. The lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was hatched in 1962. Okay, Bono. Is he overrated?
Yeah.
Paul Houston, you mean?
Paul David Houston. He came to life in 1960, and he's known by his stage name Bono, or Bono Vox, or Sonny Bono Vox.
Well, it's better than Dave.
Or perhaps he was created in a laboratory. I don't know. Bono, yeah, I'd say he's overrated. I agree with that. Mick Jagger. No one moves like Jagger. Yeah, but no one can sing like him because he can't really sing. Born in 1943. Member of a group called the Rolling Stones. That's it. And is he overrated? Yeah, he can't really sing, but he puts a lot of feeling into it. And he's not like a Roger Daltrey. He doesn't have an amazing voice, but he's a showman. Bob Dylan. Yeah, it's true. Technically he can't sing, but he sings his own songs, so you don't know. It's like watching a foreign film. I don't know if this is good or bad. It's an Italian movie. What do I know? So it's kind of the same thing. You can tell when Dylan sings like maybe Christmas carols. Oh yeah, you actually can't sing. But when he sticks with his own stuff, I don't know. Vince Neil. Vince Neil, okay. Born in 1961, Motley Crue. I don't really know enough of his vocal prowess to yay or nay him. This guy says maybe he should just lip sync because his live performances give him away, but he's good in the studio. Interesting.
But that doesn't mean that he has a bad voice. It just means that he doesn't know how to control it correctly.
Well, he's also, right now, lately, he's also older. He can't do like he used to.
No, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe lower the key register like McCartney does.
But I don't know, like, I don't know, I'm a Crew guy, so whatever. I think Vince Neil is okay in my books.
What about Axl Rose? Guns N' Roses, born in 1962, and apparently can never spell the word "and." So it comes into play. No, born in 1962, a phenomenal voice when they started. Did a lot of smoking and drugs and booze, and lost his voice.
And his mind and
everything else, and started to wear kilts.
You know what's funny though? With Axl Rose, it's fitting that you mention him in your sexual lyrics. His name Axl Rose apparently was supposed to. Is that an anagram or whenever you play on with words?
Yeah.
Letters?
Yeah.
It's oral sex.
Really?
Oh my God, that is so funny and sophisticated. Like, this guy has got to get a life. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to get an anagram of her. Maybe you should just get some work. Do some charity. I don't know. Just get out of the house, Axl. Good Lord. What about Dave Mustaine? I call him...
From Megadeth.
Yeah, but I use the French pronunciation. That's just me.
Mustang.
Yeah.
What is it, Mustaine?
Yeah,
I have no idea,
Megadeth
actually.
guy.
But I've never been sure how to pronounce it.
He was fired from Metallica. He was actually one of the original guys in Metallica.
Well, he was brought to life in 1961, co-founder, guitarist of Megadeth.
Yep, that's where he's got his
Megadeth.
success.
So this guy says he's a cringeworthy voice, but he's a great musician, great guitarist, but excessively overrated rock vocalist. James Hetfield, you've heard of him, of course.
Yeah, Metallica. He's overrated too now.
Yeah, apparently he's overrated. He born in 1963, and not a great singer, but a good band leader. Number 2, Kurt Cobain, smells like overrated. That's a good comment. And I'm sure Kennedy agrees with that one.
Well, I know he was not a kind guy, but he was a miserable man.
I thought he was fine. 1967, he was brought to life. And finally, Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, that one I do agree with. Ozzy was a competent, like, I'm thinking Black Sabbath. Not a great vocalist, but he did okay on the songs they wrote. That's the thing.
Well, the thing is with Ozzy, I think what you have to admire with him is he has like a very narrow talent.
Yeah.
But he's been able to exploit it for over 50 years.
Put. Yeah, he can sing Paranoid, but don't get him to sing a Who song where you need 2 registers. He's good with his stuff.
Exactly.
And he's a good showman.
And he knows it.
And he knows it. And he knows how to, he knows his limitations. But not a great vocalist, no.
No.
I mean, you can't put him again besides one of these hair-raising guys like Adultery.
It's funny though, all these 10 artists, or 10 lead, 10 frontmen really.
Yeah.
Frontmen. They're all in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
True.
All 10 of them are. So, cool whoever wrote the article. It's nice. Thanks for pointing it out that you think that, Vince Neil and, Kurt Cobain and whoever is overrated. I don't think Mick Jagger's overrated. I think he's great showmanship, given his age, and he's still going.
Well, no. He's just focusing on vocals.
Oh, vocals. Oh, okay.
This is strictly vocals, and Jagger's okay, but he hits the ceiling, like probably less than an octave on him, right? And not like an Adam Lambert of rock, where you go, wow, what was that?
Yeah, Lambert he's at a next level.
He's a freak. I can't believe that guy's vocal range. But now and then you'll see like a really good singer, rock singer, Janis Joplin, and you go, gee, you're making a... Janis Joplin made it her voice performance alone, not much else, right? Didn't really write songs, etc., and wasn't her, dry ice technique, as they say. But her voice was unbelievable. So yeah, this was his voice, ladies and gentlemen. Strictly a voice.
And this is your knock.
That was my knock.
That is excellent. And now I hear more music.
What could it mean?
Oh, well, it's torture time.
And now, Yes or No with Ferris Kennedy, the segment where the sick drug-addled mind of Mr. Kennedy forcibly asks Dr. Clarke and medicated Wheeler yes or no questions about classic rock, and you get to hear the sick, drug-addled answers.
Makes my knees freeze.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Clarke.
Yes, I'm happy the doctor's in.
Eddie Murphy's three musical geniuses are Prince, Stevie Wonder, and Jimi Hendrix. Yes or no?
I'll have to say Jimi Hendrix. Okay, I'll say yes, but he is an older guy.
Yeah. You're wrong. It's actually Prince, Stevie Wonder, and Paul McCartney.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Boy,
You're not kidding us.
No, swear to God.
Wow.
My adoration of him dropped 5.
Yeah.
I wish he replaced Jimi Hendrix with Paul
I
McCartney.
threw Jimi Hendrix in the
I
three
know.
off. Okay.
I'm being a silly goose.
Gunther Gleben Glauken Globen is a German nonsense to replace the traditional 1, 2, 3, 4, and were used and muttered by Joe Elliott from Def Leppard in the beginning of the songs.
Oh, I'm going to have to say yeah.
Actually, no, it was.
Oh, you're tricked me again.
Mutt Lange was the one that uttered that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Wooden Ships is a song written and composed by David Crosby, Paul Kantner, and Stephen Stills, of which versions were eventually recorded both by Crosby, Stills, Nash, and by Jefferson Airplane. Kantner was a founding member of the latter group. Is that?
That's
yes,
true. That's all true.
Okay. Steve Winwood, remember him?
No, but I remember Paul McCartney was replaced by, who did you say? Good Lord. What's he doing?
So Steve Winwood was part of Traffic before he went on his solo career.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's one for you, Ian, that you're probably going to scratch your head. The Marshall Tucker Band was initially a country band before they crossed over to classic rock.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Country band, okay.
Nights in White Satin was written and performed by the Allman Brothers Blues Band.
They might have performed it. They didn't write it or originate it, but it was Moody Blues. But okay.
That's it.
But they might have performed it. See, it could have been a trick. I'm getting wise to you after my first 2 failures.
Steve Miller told David Spade that he sometimes will skip playing Serenade in his set list if he is feeling tired, as it's a long song of 5 minutes plus. This came up in an interview as Spade asked him, "Hey, would you be playing that in your set list?"
Oh, really? I'm going to go with it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's interesting. I guess he's getting old.
So Spade had bumped into, was at a festival, and he bumped into Steve Miller. He's like, "Hey,
He
Steve, you think you're Serenade?" He's like, "I don't know, because I get tired."
He's going to say he's 75 years old. Leave him alone. 5 minutes, he's going...
So, Wheeler.
Yes, sir.
Kenny Aronoff has one son named Nikolai.
That is trivia.
I'm guessing yes.
Yes, he does. John Mellencamp is from North Dakota.
And also was a son named Nikolai.
No.
You're correct. Where's he from?
South Dakota?
Indiana.
Indiana, yeah, no.
Jackass.
Indiana wants me.
Eazy-E of NWA had a catchphrase, "Cruising down the street in my 6'4". He was referring to a 64 Cadillac. Yes or no?
It's either that or probably alcohol, I'm guessing. I want to say the 64 Cadillac.
Yeah, no, it was a 64 Apollo. Thanks for coming, though. Penny Lane was a street, and it was also a district.
It was a street. Was it a district? That's a good one, actually.
Could have been.
No?
Yes.
Yes, damn it.
You gotta listen to Earl Bailey on classic vinyl sometimes. You get a lot of good stuff off this man. In the classic vinyl era, the phrase "just all right" means you're cool, man.
Just all right. Doesn't sound like you're cool. It just means probably that you're passing by.
You're mediocre.
You're mediocre?
No, it actually means you're cool, man.
Oh, wow, okay.
The Earl Bailey one. Here's something you're gonna know. Yes,
I hope.
No? Turntable sales have gone up 46% during the pandemic.
At the beginning of the pandemic, I would have said yes, but I just saw the sale reports for records, and the sales have actually gone down.
Wow, really?
So turntables might have gone up. The sales of turntables might have gone up, but I know the record sales themselves have Well, they haven't floored, but they have lowered.
Counterintuitive, eh?
It's weird
Yeah.
because so you say they have gone up the turntables.
I'm guessing because a lot of people were buying albums, but they didn't have a turntable. So I'm guessing they're starting to buy the turntable to listen to the music.
And here's the last one for you: vinyl sales are up and streaming has dropped.
That's partly true. Like, a lot of album sales have actually dropped, but I noticed the streaming has really gone down.
Really, yeah?
Well, except for
Down, yeah.
well, what's the name of that? Adagio and Primephonics, which are two streaming services in Europe that are purely classical. They've actually gone up, but that's because they're hyper specialized.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they have like 5 listeners. Yeah.
Exactly, they went from 5 to 10.
Yeah. So, okay.
That is all I have, my friends. But yes,
Nice.
vinyl sales have gone up and streaming has dropped immensely. I don't know, immensely, but it's dropped compared to what it used to.
Oh,
Okay.
A lot of people are like myself during the pandemic. I grew my vinyl collection, as you can see in the studio here.
Yes, it's very impressive.
And just before you leave the residence, the security would be checking you guys and make sure that
Of course.
all the classic albums have disappeared.
Absolutely. There's so many places you can hide an album.
I see Ian coming with milk crates in my house that are empty. I'm not quite sure why.
and really, really baggy pants, parachute pants.
That's always the problem with albums. So, I'm told that, of course.
They're heavy as hell. That's all I can tell
They
you.
sure are. They're murder.
And
Hello.
the music at night, it sounds bright on Wheeler's turntable. He shines a light, he keeps his vinyl in sight, and gives you his magnificent review. Now here's a clue we have for you. It's time for Wheeler's Vinyl Review.
So now I'm not going to talk about an album per se, because I'm actually going to go on a tangent, thanks to our friend Kennedy here, about albums. So album sales are going up, and there is one thing that I've noticed: a lot of people who didn't grow up with vinyl LPs and records when they were kids, they don't know that you have to clean them, and it is. Although it is a great medium, the sound is often more involving. There is a reason why vinyl records started to disappear in the late 80s, early 90s, and it's just maintenance. They are a high maintenance medium. And so today I won't recommend a specific product, but I will encourage our listeners to seek out these products. So the first one is a cleaning brush. So the one thing you have to remember, especially if you're a classic rock fan, there's a good chance the album you're holding in your hands is over 30 years old. That being said, that's 30 years of crap going into the grooves of your record, especially if that poor record lived in a house where there were pet smokers and people don't wash their hands when they eat cheesy puffs. So
Probably a lot of smokers.
a lot of smokers. So the first thing to do, if your record, let's say you buy it in a store and you look at it and you look in the light and it looks clean, before you put it on your turntable, take out, at the very least, they're called static brushes.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, if you have a paper sleeve, you're going to have static and you have some kind of dust. So the static brush will stop some of the popping. Then if you notice your record has imprints, like it was in a police station trying to find a criminal, you need a cleaning brush and probably some kind of product. So already there, your record, a bit of fluid.
Not much.
Not lighter fluid, but fluid.
Yeah, don't overdo it. It's usually an alcohol-based solution.
Exactly.
Don't overdo it. Often that's the first mistake. You're not washing it per se.
So those are first few things. So already, if you have a decent record, it's going to sound really good. Let's say your record is slightly dirtier. Well, you need a cleaning station. So these things go for anywhere from $50 to $100, and it's basically a little bath in which you put water that's not from your tap. It's demineralized water.
Yeah.
They have a little cleaning solution, and there are 2 little brushes on each side of the plastic bath. And all you have to do is pass your record inside, and it's going to clean with the brushes the little crap that's accumulated over the time.
Actually, if you want some fun too, you can also put your tongue down between those brushes, and it's very stimulating. We've all done that, I'm sure.
With distilled water, that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Distilled water.
Well, it depends where you live. Like, if you live in a slightly rural area, there's a good chance.
If you're on well and septic, I
Well,
would use the hard water.
Exactly, because you're going to screw your album like you wouldn't believe.
You're disgusting.
So those are first 2 things. Now, if your record still sounds crappy, there is another solution. This one is for people that either have a really good record store in their area or they have really deep pockets. And it's called ultrasonic cleaning.
Oh, like our friend John Thompson at the Record Center.
Exactly. So basically, in the last 10 to 15 years, people have actually discovered that this technology that was created for jewelry actually does wonders for records. So basically what it does, it creates little micro bubbles that go into the groove, and they can remove 30 to 40 years of fat, oils, and anything that can accumulate in there. So you can actually save your records. So that's another possibility. I would recommend, if you don't have a big collection, go to your record store. They will do it probably for a few bucks. And if they're like John, that money goes to charity. So everybody's a winner.
Goes to the food bank at $1 per album.
Exactly. So it's everybody wins. But if you have deep pocket, if you have, let's say, 2,000 albums and you constantly want to listen to a pristine sound, you can buy a machine. I think the cheapest one on the market right now is at $2,000. The one that's referenced by most people is $5,000. I've heard rumors apparently in Hong Kong they're working on a $500 machine. You never know. It might come true. It might not. So that's for the record itself. The other 2 little gadgets I would recommend is a stylus cleaner. So that's the little needle that you're using to listen to your records. You might not know this, but if you're playing a lot of dirty records, the crap that's in your grooves can actually get onto that needle. And eventually it will be stuck with gook, and you'll still be able to listen, but even your clean records will no longer sound great. So that's another gadget.
The stylus, yeah.
The stylus, and a really cheap thing you can do for your records. If you love your records, buy plastic sleeves. Get rid of the paper sleeves, unless there's something really important printed on them, which I'm guessing is 0.001% of every record ever produced. Throw away the paper sleeve and put it in a plastic sleeve. They're going to be cleaner, not as much dust will get into your grooves. So that's my...
Yeah, most of the German imports have plastic sleeves.
So should I replace all my paper sleeve ones with plastic?
It depends. Like there are nice paper sleeves, but if you ever notice that your paper sleeve is starting to break down, and if you look at your record and it's filled with it looks like dandruff,
yeah,
change it.
Right.
Otherwise, you don't need
What are you
to.
going to be doing in the next 2 weeks? No, I'm serious. Because I replaced a lot of them on my own. I replaced a lot of them, but I figured, considering you know this a little bit more than I do, that we could all start hanging out with people again. Well, come on over. And then, you know what? You might get a vinyl return that I don't want anymore. So
charge them $1 an album, but don't give it to charity.
Yeah, give it to Ian.
Yeah, I'll take it. We'll invest it.
Well, that's good, though. I'm glad you mentioned that, Wills, because it is important to clean your albums, and at the end of the day, they hold value.
Exactly. And the simplest thing of all, don't put your fingers on them, for God's
always
sake.
pick them up by the edge. Never put your fingers on them.
Don't use a leaf blower to clean your albums. Don't use a leaf blower.
Remember, if it's a deep scratch, even cleaning them won't help folks, so be very careful with the albums.
That's it. Well, that's it.
That's
Thank you. Very informative.
Well, that was a very good show. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we ran out of time.
Damn.
But hey, we're still recording, so this is good. Keep listening. Keep listening.
Absolutely. We'll be back.
Coming. We're coming back. So, signing off to the right of me.
Stephen Wheeler.
To the left.
I'm also Stephen Wheeler.
That's why your voice sounds so nice.
Will the real Stephen Wheeler please stand? No, Ian Clarke.
And I'm Kennedy. Have a good night.
So long.
So long.